All right, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Stream of Thought, and we're on the big 3-0 today. And we start off by talking a little bit about what a mud runner was like for my experience this past weekend, which was manageable, much more manageable than I thought, but probably one of the most enjoyable experiences that I've had in the last couple of years.
And speaking of enjoyable experiences, we just kind of touch a little bit on the things that we've done in the past that are exciting, that bring about the adrenaline, and then kind of transition into childhood memories and just, again, things that are a little out of the ordinary that we did as kids, that were just fond memories that we now have.
And then we spend a little bit of time with Venting Victor on his philosophy on why playgrounds these days are not up to par with what they should be. They stifle creativity. They're all these stupid orange tubes and green tubes.
Playgrounds these days are whack.
They're whack.
Whack.
That's the best way to put it. So, with that being said,
Episode number 30, Stream of Thought. We hope you enjoy. So I see that you're wearing a medal around your neck.
I know, man.
And a new T-shirt.
Talk about building up the tension as we're as you pick me up and we have a full 20 minutes. Did you see I had the stuff in my hand?
I saw that you had.
Wait to whip it out.
I saw that you had something in your hand, and then when you got in the car, I was trying really hard not to ask you anything about the Tough Mudder, and I know you were trying really hard not to say anything because the entire car ride we didn't say a single word to each other.
I know, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
So I have around my neck a terrain conquered medal, and that basically I complete. I crossed the finish line. But it looks like actually it's a monkey. I didn't realize
really?
that.
Wow,
That's a
is.
monkey. It took me a second to realize what the shape of that was. It's a very weird design.
This is a pretty cool looking medal.
It is. And apparently people... Come on, Victor. And apparently people collect the medals from these things because they hand out medals at all of them. And, yeah, it's a nice little souvenir. I thought it was typical after you finish these things to them to give you a cup of beer or whatever. Because you always... I don't know. Have you ever seen that before? The advertisements where
I've not.
Finish the race and enjoy a nice cold beer. There is none of that. This was a very low-key... Tough Mudder experience.
Okay. Was this Tough Mudder like a beginner level Tough Mudder for people?
You know,
or are there people out there that this is like their 10th one and they're just all about it? And
it's tough to say. So first of all, I'm gonna say I am so effing sore. Like every part of my body is aching right now, and it's only been 24 hours.
So, if I remember correctly, going into this, you had no idea where it was. You had no idea the length of the course. You had no idea what the course entailed. There was all you knew was that your sister signed you up, and then you didn't even know what the date was until like last or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And your only training was running 3 miles periodically.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I have to say, I was very willing for this to just be an experience as it came. And it turned out to be awesome because, so it was this past weekend, and it was at the Joliet Motor Speedway.
Okay.
And they set up a track. Apparently, we had signed up for a 10K, but the track was only 5K, and if you wanted to do the 10K, you would just do the track twice.
Right.
Which is kind of goofy to me.
Yeah.
But we get there, and it's oh man, by the time we get there, it's about 9-ish or so. So it's been going on for maybe 2 hours, started at 7 o'clock. So all the hardcore people who are actually racing for a place, a finishing place, have already finished and have vacated the area. Okay. So there's not a lot of uber competitive people around. Okay. And there's actually not as many people as I thought there would be. It was manageable.
Do you know how many contestants there were? How many runners there were total?
Total? I don't know. While I was there, in our group that we ended up going in, there were maybe 70 or so people, 50 to 70.
What were the ages? Were there like 70-year-olds doing this thing?
I have to say, man, anybody can do a Tough Mudder. Okay. After this experience, there were people of all shapes, sizes, ages, and everything in between. I mean, physical conditions, all that. If you wanted to do it, you could do it. It was not as intense as I thought it would be. It was a very nice warm up to a more competitive mud runner.
Were there obstacles like jumping through things and like
Yeah,
grabbing
yeah.
things or what?
Well, the
Walk me through this.
Okay, so I'll walk you through the course. There was
Did they give that to you also?
no. This is just
It looks like a brand new coffee.
yeah. My dad
mug
got it for me.
container. Nice. Okay. Contigo. That means with you.
Really?
Yeah.
In Spanish?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Contigo. Well, now
Contigo.
that's my word
with
for the
you.
day.
Take coffee with you. Yeah.
Oh, I'm always gonna remember that now. So anyway, it's a 5K race, and there are maybe 24 obstacles over the course of this race, and they range from everything. And I have no idea what these obstacles are gonna be when I start out, because the stadium, the Motor Speedway, is basically blocking everything, because it's taking place on the other side. You basically run around the speedway and then through the concourse and all that.
Okay.
I don't know that yet. All I see is that the race starts and it goes around the corner.
Okay.
And you can't see it anymore. So they have about 24 different obstacles set up, and it starts out really simple. It's just a small wall, and then it's a medium wall, and then it's a large wall with a rope that you climb over. And then, well, okay, so let me say, first you start off in a pool of water. That was probably the weirdest part. Everyone is standing there in ice cold water, waiting for the race to
high
start.
Is the water?
It's up to my navel.
Oh,
Perhaps.
wow, okay.
Yeah, so it's deep. Everyone is just totally soaked, and it's very uncomfortable.
Cold, okay.
Because I mean, who likes standing in water for 5 minutes
Yeah.
waiting for a race to start?
Yeah.
And it's just like, this sucks. Like, come on. So the first obstacle is jumping out of the pool and starting to run.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone is just sloshing around, water's flying everywhere. You run up to the first obstacle, which is the small one, and people are like falling over, jumping over, all that. We're in the front pack, so luckily we don't have to pass too many people. But there are people who sort of start out faster and end up slowing down, things like that. We go over the first couple of obstacles, and then it gets to the fun part, which is the mud. There's only one mud obstacle this whole race, but it's like 4 sewer tubes that are set up, and you have to crawl through the sewer tubes into basically a pool of mud. I mean, if you're coordinated enough, you should be able to get through the sewer tube and land on your feet, but basically you're going to go back waist deep into muddy water, ice cold muddy water. And then you have to climb up a hill of mud that's slicked down from probably about 200 or 300 people already running on it. So it's literally just this slick hill of mud, and people are like clawing up, like trying to dig their hands into this muddy, rocky mess.
I can tell you right now, this does not sound like any fun to me.
Oh my goodness. Well, my adrenaline's going because everyone's sort of just all over the place, and there's a line, so you see people struggling. And there are in this muddy part, there are 3 hills that you have to climb over. So the hills get progressively higher, and the water that you have to wade through gets progressively longer. And so the first one is just you get out of the pool, you walk a couple of feet, you climb your way to the top, and then you have to get down the other side, and the other side is steeper. So here you have like some footholds, but they're all just slick with mud. So your feet are just, and so I take the approach of I'm just gonna slide down. I'm gonna do surfer dude down into the water.
How'd that work out for you?
Not bad. I didn't land in my face.
Okay.
I was surprised because I didn't really know what to expect. You couldn't see anything under the water, so you had no idea where your footing was going to land. And so I go into the second one. I'm like, okay, this is manageable. Like I'm filthy. I'm covered in mud. Like mud is just everywhere. I'm just like, oh my god, this is
How many seconds
unpleasant.
how many seconds in is this? Like 30 seconds in?
This is I have to say this is the first couple of minutes. This is probably a good 5 to 7 minutes into the race. And then there's the final hill. And I'm just like, okay, this is a longer stretch of muddy water that you have to walk through. I'm like, well, that's annoying. Like, why would I do that? So I land in the water like I do again. It's up to my navel. I take one step, suddenly I go, and it's up to my neck.
Oh,
and
man.
so they had dug another hole that you couldn't see under the first one. So about 2 steps in, you're gonna go, and it's about nipple deep. And so here, I'm just like, oh god.
Yeah.
I didn't go under the water, thank God. I don't know what I would
That
have done.
would be cool. Little surprises.
Yeah,
like that.
but it was stuff like that, and then climbed up overwards, and then I'm just everyone is drenched in mud, and we're thinking, oh, great, like there's gonna be another water obstacle that'll like clean us off, kind of thing. There is not another water obstacle until the very last obstacle that we have to do. So we have to run the next 2 miles soaking wet and covered in mud.
I was about to ask how many miles or what's the distance in between obstacles.
I would say it was It ranged, but it was probably a quarter of a mile between obstacles, I
Okay.
would say. Um, so after we get done with that, it's just like, okay, well, we're in this. I mean, it doesn't really matter what we have to do now. I mean, we're about as dirty as we could possibly get. So let's just do the rest of this. And then it switched from climbing over stuff and things like that to tires. And there's like all of these sort of tire obstacles that you have to do because you get out of the muddy water. You run. You actually only run maybe a minute to the next obstacle, and there's a line of tires that are attached to a bar that you put over your shoulders.
Okay.
And so you're supposed to run maybe 40 feet to a pole, turn around, run back.
All these
with
tires the same size. They have okay.
They're all
Yeah.
the same size, and they're really light. I mean, I ran with them.
Yeah.
I literally ran with them. And we continued into the Motor Speedway concourse, which was really cool because there were some car racers who were actually practicing on the track while we were
okay.
running the mud runner, so we could hear the vroom,
Yeah.
like going around the course. But we get to probably the hardest part of the whole obstacle was scaling the stairs all the way to the very top of the speedway, which had to have been, oh man, 40 flights
Wow.
of stairs going up. And so, yeah, taking 2 steps at a time. And of course, this is where my training came in, basically, because this is more or less what I've been training to do with my 5Ks, pushing it, that sort of thing. So I'm going up the stairs, and as I'm going up, you see I'm passing people, but you see the people who have been with us sort of slowing down as they get to certain
right.
points. So suddenly people are dropping away, dropping away, dropping away. But the crew that we're with, and it's just 4 of us. There were 19 people in our group dropped out the morning of or something like that. So it was just 4 of us who were doing it, but we all stuck together. So I got to the top, the very, very top of the speedway. And it just overlooked everything. And it was just the most gorgeous sight ever.
Okay.
And so waited up there for the rest of our crew to get up there. Ended up, we had to run all the way down, do another thing where we had sandbags over our shoulders, and had to run up and down like 10 flights of stairs with those. Continued, and it was those sort of obstacles. And then we came to the part that I'm not prepared for in the least whatsoever, which are the grippy things. Anything that you have to like grip and crawl your way using your hands.
Going
like
up?
like monkey bar style.
Okay, got it.
And the first obstacle was a bunch of different objects, like a metal ball that was attached to a rope that you grabbed, and then like a half metal ball, and then a ring, and then a rope, and you had to swing your way across this elevated area trying to grip onto it. There was no way in hell that I was gonna be able to do that. I wasn't able to complete that obstacle.
Why, you just didn't have strong enough grip, or your hands were slick? Or
Didn't have
what?
strong enough grip. Yeah, I mean that's basically what it came down to. I was wearing gloves and all that, not strong enough grip. It just
Okay.
yeah. So that was not super enjoyable. But basically, then the obstacles more or less they varied and all that for the rest of the race. But it was things similar to that. And by the end of it, there were 2 obstacles that were sort of back to back. One was monkey bars over a pool of water, which was what I was telling you about. The last second to last obstacle had water, and so I get halfway across the monkey bars, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm covered in mud, my grip is slipping, screw it, I'm going down. And so I end up just dropping it in the water. I'm like, all right, I'm clean, cool, whatever, I'm done. Walk to the last obstacle, which is just ropes, climbing across ropes, get done. I'm all right, cool, whatever. Don't need to worry about that. My sister, on the other hand, I have to say, this was the thing I was the most impressed with about her, is that any obstacle that required that sort of monkey bar hand grabbing thing, she was able to complete all of them, no problem. It was very impressive. And so for her, she was able to get across the monkey bars, no problem, not drop into the water or anything like that. So she was still covered in mud by the end, but I thought my choice was the wiser of the 2.
I imagine they had places for you to like hose off and get.
Yeah, they did. They had a couple of tents. It was pretty loosely organized. We ended up our time group was 10:15, but we ended up jumping in the 9:45 group.
Okay.
And just running that. So it was very loosely organized, and if you didn't feel like you could do an obstacle, you could just walk around.
Do you feel now after doing this like you're the type of person that's like, I'm gonna find the next opportunity to do a tough mudder or like some type of obstacle course, or is like one good enough for you?
I could totally see myself doing another one. Really. I don't think I'd go out of the. I don't see it's something that I could get addicted to, kind of thing. It's not that fun. I don't want to say it's not. It's not. Wrong language. It's. Yeah. I mean, it's an enjoyable experience, but it all depends on the people that you're with.
Yes.
Because this was the first time, actually, that my sister and I have ever done anything, just the two of us.
Okay.
Hung out and done some sort of activity. So that was a ton of fun. That was probably the best part of the whole experience.
Yeah, earlier I was thinking about stuff like this. I mean, it sounds like fun, but my thing was like, I don't want to. With having long hair, I don't feel like getting dirty.
Dude, I would totally do
like
one with
getting
you.
muddy.
We should totally try and set up a mud runner. I would do it with you. I would love to see you try it.
I think I would have fun, and then when it's, I'm the type of person though. It's like when the race is over, I don't want to get in the car dirty. Like I would want to have been showered with like shampoo and soap, have a change of clothes, and then get in the car and ride home.
It's the sacrifice that you make, though. It's one day, and you sort of steel yourself for it because all the pictures of any mud runner involve mud. And so everyone's dirty. You know that that's going to happen. You just say, screw it. I'm going to set it aside. I'm going to allow myself to be dirty. It's going to be uncomfortable. But if you prepare yourself for it, it's totally fine. Because I didn't end up taking a shower until much later that day, and I was totally fine.
Had your sister done something like this before? No. Because she was the one that signed you up, so how did she get involved in knowing where this was and everything?
She's done this before. I can't remember if it was just one or she's done a couple of them, but I know she's done at least one other one, and she thought it was fun, and we had been talking about this almost a year ago, maybe 6 months ago or something like that, and she's like, I would do it again, and I said, let's do it together, and we just ended up scheduling it.
So how far in advance did you guys sign up before the actual date? Because I remember you telling me about this a couple months ago.
Yeah, it was like 4 months beforehand.
Okay.
So it was pretty far in advance, and it's one of those things too that I felt like I was hearing this not just from the people who I was with, but from just everyone overhearing. Oh, I should have trained or something like that. Like I should have. Next time I'm gonna condition or something like that beforehand. And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, that's probably a good idea. It might make life a little easier. 'Cause really, I mean, that it paid off with my conditioning.
It did.
Increases for the past month have definitely paid off, and I'm glad that I did that. It really got me. Yeah. Oh, I just feel good. I feel good. I feel sore. I feel good.
Do you have a spot where you're gonna hang this medal?
No, I'm not very attached to.
No, it is pretty
medals
cool.
or awards or anything like that. It is.
I remember I have a shoebox of stuff like medals and little things here and there, and I came across one. It was from high school for like Glenbard South Invitational. I don't know, 4x1 relay or 4x4 relay, and it was a medal, and on the back of it it said 6th place. I'm just like, why are you? I thought to myself, why do I have this?
I have a bunch of those from track.
Yeah, it was from track.
Yeah.
I was like, why did they give this to us?
Yeah.
I
have a couple of 8th place ribbons. It's
I'm
like
old enough that I do not need a thing.
A participation.
Yeah,
ribbon.
A participation award.
Yeah.
Just save it. Give it to somebody else who's in need. Give it to someone who's
give it to someone else who's in need.
Give it to somebody who got 3rd place. Save this for someone who got 1st, 2nd, or 3rd.
I'm sure that if it was a medal, I'm sure it was from state though.
It was an invitational.
Okay.
I'll bring it in. It was like cheap looking.
Oh.
Like this is a nice metal. Like this nylon is like super nice and smooth. The metal itself is actually, got a little bit of weight to it. It looks really cool.
Oh, yeah, you could hurt someone with this.
The one we got from track, on the back it just says engraved like 6th place, and on the front you can tell there's like a sticker on there or something weird like that.
Something generic.
Yeah.
But so you have no interest in doing something like this?
No, I'll do it.
This doesn't sound fascinating.
My thing was just like, I gotta get dirty, and I'll get mud in my hair, and it's just takes a lot of effort to get clean. So
okay, so let me because you take care of yourself.
Yes,
you work out. You would love some of these parts. For example, the tire flip. You have this 50, no, it's got to be a 70-pound tire. It's the football-sized tires.
Okay.
That you see them probably a little lighter than that. but you see people having to flip it over, and even these guys who look jacked are like struggling, just like "Arr!" Like whether they're not doing the right form or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
You see them struggling, and I'm thinking to myself, oh man, this is my jam here. So I go over, and it's just right leverage, right form, that sort of thing. Flip it over, flip it over. And you're like, I am the man.
Done,
and I feel
done,
like
done.
that is the sort of thing that you would really appreciate.
Okay.
Because it's those moments where you get to show off. For example, mine were the rope climbing things, just because that's where my arm strength is the best. So it's just like I literally don't use my legs, and I just climb with my hands. Just climb with my arms, hit the bell at the top, just slide down, done in 5 seconds, and I'm like, I am the man. So there are moments like that just make you feel so alive, and so it makes you feel worth having conditioned the way that you have up to this point.
Yeah, I'll try it. I'll do one. I wonder if there's one we can do by the end of the year before it gets cold, super cold.
Oh man.
Or if there's one that's like, oh my gosh, dude, you know what I would be down to do?
What?
We should do a polar plunge in Lake Michigan
one day. Oh my
day.
god. Oh. We're still young enough to do it.
Yeah.
Our bodies won't go into
polar plunge
hypothermic
in Lake
shock.
Michigan.
Yeah.
That would be fun to do.
That would be interesting. I don't know. Do we have enough fat on our body?
No, hell no.
I mean, I'm kind of worried about what would happen to our nervous system.
Everything, all the blood immediately will be drawn from all extremities to protect our organs, and I'm guessing you'd have very little time to actually use your arms to like get to safety.
We should go on like a 5K beforehand so that we're just super
No,
warm.
I don't know.
I don't know what the best way to. That's probably the worst
Probably
thing we
not,
could
'cause
possibly
you'll be really
do.
warm.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
probably worse for you. I'd be done to do that. I'd be done to do a Tough Mudder and a collar run.
Because that's free. Polar plunge is free, right?
I don't know. It might be something like you pay for it and it goes to charity or something because you're just
Or
jumping.
donations
I
or
don't
something
know
like
how
that.
any of that stuff works.
So I'm down to do free. The thing is, what? What's
Yo, you know what's coming up is this runs for Jack.
that's right.
The Glen Ellen 5K for melanoma cancer.
That's right.
I did it the first 2 years. I haven't done it since, but I remember the first year because we were in high school. It was like junior year.
I was gonna say, wasn't that a thing that started when
This
runs
yeah,
for Jack
because
was for Jack who?
Jack Marston. So
Jack
Jen was in our grade.
Oh,
Jen was in
that's
our grade. This is
right.
when we
I
were like
remember that.
16. And that was the
Yes.
first year. And I remember I ran it. I think the second year I ran it with Cooper. The first year, I don't know, I think it was maybe by myself. But I remember this is in the middle of high school, junior year, track and soccer. And I think I finished like third or fourth place.
No way.
Yeah. I think like one of the Dorico brothers finished first. Somebody else, some random dude
Dorico
finished
brothers,
second. And
yeah.
I think I crossed I was one of the first few people to cross the finish line.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I don't
That's
know what
incredible.
day that
So
is,
it's
but
been
that'd be fun to
about
do.
10 or 12 years then, right?
Yeah, it's been 13 years,
13
I
years.
think. Yeah.
Holy cow.
I think he passed away the summer 2004, and then they had it in 2000.
Wow, they
and
did
then
it
they
the
had
next
it like that fall.
that
I think.
fall,
I believe.
wow.
I can't remember.
And the fact that that's one of those nice little town traditions. That,
Yeah.
Wow, 13 years. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Love that sort of stuff. That's like the Freedom 4.
I saw that, and it was like
The
Freedom-
4-mile run
Yeah, but it was
around
like
Lake
going
Ellen.
around Lake Ellen. And I was like, I'm not gonna pay to run. I already run around Lake Ellen for free. I'm
Absolutely.
not gonna pay to run around Lake Ellen.
Especially with 10,000 people.
Yeah.
You're not.
Hell no.
Nah.
I'm not doing that.
No. It's so much more peaceful when you're by yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I do want to do is I actually did it. I think maybe a couple weeks ago, running at night
Mm-hmm.
around Lake Ellen.
Oh, I love it. It's the best.
Great. I've found that I keep pace a little bit better because I go slower because I don't want to trip over myself.
Mm.
Going
Okay.
over certain
Yeah,
spots,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
where the trail is just on the outside where it's just the little rock, you
Mhm.
know, it's not like cement or anything. But yeah, I did that, and I remember I kept pace way better, and it was because I kept thinking I was going to trip over myself, and I think I did it when it was a new moon, so there's like no moon. The moon wasn't out; it was just completely dark.
Yeah, and there are certain areas around Lake Ellen that are not lit at all, for
Yeah.
sure.
But yes, I would be down to explore some of these different races.
And that's the thing too, is it doesn't even have to be. I'm always open to weird experiences that are just out there, totally random. I felt like this was. I never thought that I'd do a mud runner. I never really had any inclination or interest in doing it, but the opportunity presented itself. I thought this is a cool chance to try something different, and it was totally worth it. It was very, very cool. But polar plunge, yeah, no, we could totally look into
I'll be
that.
down for polar plunge.
But just fun and random experiences. Have you ever done anything out of the norm when it comes to athletic races or
I did.
competitions?
I don't know. I don't. I have.
So yeah, it would have
I
been
do
a while
not
or anything
recall.
Like that.
I mean,
I thought you were in a league, like a sports league, for work or something like that at some point.
I did company softball and I did volleyball at
Mhm.
North Ave Beach with like Jeff and his old girlfriend and some of their friends. But I'd never done something that was like out in left field, like a obstacle course. I actually did the J.P. Morgan Chase 5K downtown several years ago. That was through the company. That was pretty cool.
Okay.
Like, the company just paid for it. So yeah, and like 15 or 20 of us did it. So that was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing like obstacle course or anything
Or
weird like that.
or 5K or marathon or anything like that.
No, I think I can do a half marathon. I can do a half
Yeah,
marathon.
that would be freaking tough.
You go the whole way, 26.2. I'm good.
No.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah. Well, that was the one thing that, again, I would never consider doing unless an opportunity presented itself. But a marathon or a half marathon in New York City, for example.
Oh, wow.
That would be something that, because when I worked in Greenpoint, they always would have the marathon path would always run through Greenpoint, and so they'd close off half the town or close off a
Yeah.
string of roads, and that was something that always crossed my mind. It's like, wow, that's such a cool thing for people to do. It's like the greatest city in the world. People get to just run through the streets all across all across the 5 boroughs, get to experience the full beauty of New York while staying in shape.
Yeah.
That's such a cool concept.
I would totally be down to do a half marathon. Actually, one of my friends, she every year does, it's like some midnight bicycle run downtown Chicago. I think some of the streets are closed off and everyone's on a bicycle and it's at midnight and you just like ride around. You go follow a path and there's checkpoints, I think, and you
interesting.
pretty much just enjoy riding your bicycle at night on closed off streets. And I think people have like glow in the dark stuff and like, you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
the shit that you see at 4th of July and everything.
Yes.
But that would be pretty cool.
Well, and I don't know if this is the case with other places, but we actually went while I was in New York to cheer on somebody at a marathon. And so we went to a couple of the points that they were going to be at. And there are people all across the marathon path, like cheering people on, just sitting, enjoying the day, just supporting the runners. And that's a cool thing too, is that there are actually spectators to marathon running. That's not something you really think about, but in New York, I was a spectator at a marathon. Like, that was the same number of sports events that I went to. With like, I went to a football game, I went to a marathon, I went to a
There was an episode of Seinfeld where they go to someone's apartment who's having like a party because there's a marathon going on, and from their apartment they can look down and see the runners, and they're talking about, George and Jerry are talking about how much of an idiot they are for missing opportunities for, Jerry's like, I'm the biggest idiot in the world. I had an opportunity to give up the apartment to Elaine and I didn't take it, and George is like, I just gave up like a lifetime of season tickets to any sporting event at Madison Square Garden. Look at me, have some respect for I am Costanza, Lord of the Idiots. And then in the corner, there's the woman that's jumping up and down with her hands in the air, and because she's like, the marathon, the runners are crossing the finish line, and she's like, you're all winners, and then because George is like. And suddenly a new contender appears for like being the biggest idiot. But yeah, I guess I didn't know that it was like a thing like to revolve your day around like this race.
Yes.
A marathon.
Well, that's my favorite How I Met Your Mother episode was the marathon episode where Barney Stinson runs the marathon.
I don't recall. I've seen every episode, but I don't remember that one.
It's the one where he gets stuck in the subway. It's
Okay.
the chain of unfortunate events.
Yes, I've seen that one. And then the other thing. No, I don't. I think I haven't really done a whole bunch of like marathon type stuff or just running type.
experiencing life. Have you ever jumped out of an airplane or
No.
spelunked or anything like that?
No, I've done spelunking when I was in Boy Scouts. That was really fun. I have not jumped out of an airplane. I almost did, but we couldn't because of the weather.
Now, spelunking, just to clarify, is just rappelling down a cliff,
It's just like
right?
no, that's
Or
like
a hole,
cave.
a cave.
You're in a cave and it's like hiking in a cave and crawling through caves.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't have to be just descending on a rope.
No,
into a cave.
that's called something else.
Okay.
Rappelling, or something weird. I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, but I thought that spelunking was okay. So spelunking is just traveling through caves.
Yes.
Okay.
I did that in Boy Scouts. I almost jumped out of a plane, but we couldn't because it was too foggy, and that was actually when I was in New York.
Never do that.
Yeah, when I was in New York,
Do that.
and I did one of. Oh, and I did the boat regatta a couple times in Glen Ellen.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I did
the
it once
boat
when I
regatta.
was, I want to say I was 12, and another time I think like the next 13 or 14.
Did you help build the boat?
Yeah.
Did you go in the boat?
Yeah.
Into
And
the
then I
lake?
went
Did
in
it-
the water.
Did it sink? All
Yeah.
right.
Then I went from the land to the boat, in the boat on
Into
the water,
Lake Ellen
and then
water.
I went from the boat
Oh.
into the water.
Back in the day when we didn't care about how many
That was pretty
diseases we got.
gross.
Yes.
Because
Didn't they find a car when they emptied out Lake Ellen?
I don't know what.
once?
I know they emptied it out a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was I remember you can see through the water. There was a picnic table that someone had thrown in there one time. I think.
Yeah, that
So
sounds
if you're
about
standing
right.
on the ledge of the dock, you can see the picnic table in the shallow end, inside the water. I remember that.
I think because I haven't done a lot either. I've snowmobiled. That was super intense. That was for Brooks's wedding many years ago,
told me that.
and that was. I would not be. I'm not a motorcycle fan. I'm not a. Yeah, small engine.
Living life on the edge.
Yeah,
type
I'm
of
not
guy.
an adrenaline junkie.
I love that shit.
And so that's also one of the most terrifying experiences, because when you're on it, you're thinking, well, how many times is I gonna get an opportunity to snowmobile? Probably not many. So why not just test the limits?
Is that the same trip that you said like you were in a limo and the limo driver just did donuts in a parking lot?
Yes,
for
that
you
was the
guys?
same trip. Yep. Yeah. Awesome limo driver. Can't remember his name, but
That's pretty funny.
yes, he did did wheelies in a parking lot during a snowstorm in Minnesota, because that's what people do in Minnesota.
That's pretty funny.
Oh, it was a blast. Wow.
Yeah, I rode on like wave runners.
Yep.
And I know we did that at Cooper's Lake House.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
That was probably my first out of the box type of experience.
Dude, I love like doing that type of stuff, like just going wild.
It's
and,
so
like,
scary to break the barrier though.
It is
for the
a
first
little bit.
time. For example, trying to water ski for the first time and just getting lifted up, you're like, I have no idea what to expect. I'm
No.
gonna fall a couple of times, get smacked in
It's
the
a
face
great
by water.
workout if you're water skiing or wakeboarding. Just like all your whole arms and core, like holding
You
onto the
feel
thing.
like a beast.
I once,
Yeah.
I remember like I was wakeboarding and the nose of the board, I had I got like a little bit of air off of a wake. I wasn't trying to like get air, but there's a few inches, and then the nose of the board had hit the water, and I just completely just like hit the water
like a brick wall.
Yes, exactly. And I remember I hit the water and immediately was like, whoa.
Because your
Like,
forehead probably smacked first,
I
right?
smashed into the water and I was
A little
for
concussion
sure
going on.
dazed and confused. Like I knew what was going on. Like I was in the water, but everything just like was happening pretty slow and just like weird.
Yeah.
And the first thing when I came back up from the underneath the water, I was just like, did I just suffer a mild concussion? Because I hit that water as if my brain had hit concrete.
You probably
for
did,
a split
dude.
second, and then the water gives.
You were concussed.
But in the moment before the water breaks, that's just like
solid.
hitting a fucking
it's
wall.
solid. It's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a couple of those experiences sort of dampened my enthusiasm for stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm willing to do it just to say I did it kind of thing and learn how to get up there.
Mhm.
But the pain associated with it can be just overwhelming.
Yeah,
trying
I
to
got
do it
out and
again.
I was like, I'm good.
I'm good for now. Well,
I'm
and that's the
good.
thing too. Flipping over a jet ski for the first time, it's like, okay, well, that
I
was an
love doing
experience.
that. I love throwing people off.
Oh yeah,
I
trying to
love
throw
throwing
people,
myself off too.
trying to, yeah,
Yeah.
that's also one of those
We
things that you
were
just
when
gotta
I was in
try.
Hilton Head with Drew. We took him out on the Atlantic because we rented them for a couple hours, and like the last half hour, the water got really choppy, just really, really choppy. So you
Mhm.
could ride a wave up, and then the wave would just disappear
Oh my
underneath
goodness, oh
you,
my
and then all of a
goodness,
sudden you'd
yeah.
have like, I mean, not the crazy amount of air, but when you're on this machine, and all of a sudden the wave is gone and there's 5 or 6 feet between you and the water, it's kind of scary when you hit the water.
Well, dude, I mean, the same thing as you experienced with jet skis, I experienced with the snowmobile, where you're going. I mean, you get up to something like what 45 miles an hour, or however, what's the max that you can go?
Dude,
It's
on the
like
Wave Runner you can get up to like 50 miles
50
an
miles an
hour.
hour, but you're going that fast, and suddenly you are not on the you are on top of the water. Though you are just,
Yeah.
and the same goes with being on the snow. You are on top of the snow, which means there is no traction anymore, zero traction, which means if you go over a bump, you're going in the air. The
Yeah.
snowmobile is going in the air. There's nothing to keep you attached, and so we are partying. I forget, there were a couple of guys who ended up throwing their snowmobile, throwing themselves off a snowmobile
Wow.
just because they were going so fast and off a hill, trying to turn even a little bit. You just whoosh,
Yeah.
going off to the side.
My goodness.
I know, but again, it's something you got to experience.
Yeah, I've
It's
done
life.
done a little bit of I mean, I wouldn't call mountain. I didn't climb a mountain. It's more like a wall, like not like the climbing wall at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Okay.
No, this is like a real
A real wall.
wall of rock.
Okay.
It was like maybe
Where at?
this is in Colorado.
Oh,
Boy Scout camp.
nice. Okay.
Shot guns, love shooting guns, and did rappelling. That was pretty fun. That was a little bit scary, but that was pretty fun. But yeah, I gotta do some more stuff.
See, I feel like all of your cool experiences came during Boy Scouts.
Actually, when I was on Boy Scouts, we did sleep on a submarine.
Like, a
real
submerged?
submarine?
A submerged?
No, no.
Oh, damn.
No, a real submarine that was used in World War II. It was retired, and it could go underwater, but it wouldn't come back up. So it was just docked there, and
Okay.
it was cool. Like, I get to climb through climb up a ladder and up through the hole, and then I'm on top of the submarine. And they played like the U-571 on like I think it was on DVD at the time. It was 2001.
Oh, my goodness.
And where we slept, you could fit like 4 bunks, but everything was so close together. And when we got home, all of our stuff smelled like diesel.
Really?
Yeah, it was great. It was my dad and my brother and myself. We went for a weekend, and with us was Lee Nicholson and his dad and his brother Paul, because we were in the same Boy Scout troop.
I feel like, how many people would you say, percentage-wise, have done Boy Scouts? How many
Oh, probably
guys?
less than half.
You think less than
Yeah.
that? I never did Boy Scouts.
I had a blast. I only did it for like 2 or 3 years, but I had a lot of fun.
I think there are a lot of important skills, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's one of those things that I missed out on.
I mean, I remember the couple
Learn how to start a fire
the
with
few
your
couple
hands.
years that I did Boy Scouts. I mean, I have 0 skills that I remember from doing that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, how to
You
start.
you can't whittle.
I mean, I can do the very basic stuff like, yeah, whittle. I can do that.
Call small woodland creatures to your side.
But I just remember like it was a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun. It was just like, this is what should be included in every boy's childhood. One time we were at a camp and we got names drawn out of a hat because some of us there was an opportunity. There was this thing in the middle of the lake, like this giant wood raft that was maybe the size of this room.
Yeah.
And on it was a huge tent. And it was a thing, we went out there on the boats and we got to sleep on this giant platform that was anchored to the bottom, and over it was a tent, and it was just cool. Like, you got to just sleep out there. It was just like, I mean, it's no different than just sleeping in your tent, but just it was the anticipation of going out there, being in the boat in the middle of the night, getting out there, laying out your sleeping bag, sleeping, talking, going to bed, waking up in the morning, coming out the tent, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm out in the middle of the lake right now, and then getting back on the boat and going back to wherever your campsite was. And I also just the merit badges were really fun. I did small boat sailing, and at the end of the week, I'm proficient enough to operate this boat with 2 other people on it.
Yeah.
And what happens when you get a group of 7th graders out there by themselves? You get fun. Some people call it trouble. We would take the sailboats and we would play turtle, or what's it called? Play chicken, and we would go towards each other from across the lake at like full speed, and then last minute we would pull whatever I don't know what any of this stuff is called on the boat, but we would turn the sail so we wouldn't hit each other.
Yeah.
And sometimes what would happen is there would be one sitting there, and we'd be coming at it, and it'd be perpendicular to us, and then we would turn as quickly as we could and get to as close as the boat as possible without hitting it.
How fast would you say you were going?
I don't know, but I mean, you're going pretty quick.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, you're looking over the side and you're seeing water just like shoot out just from the bow, just water moving out of the way and everything.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way. If you were to hit a rowboat with a sailboat going at this speed, you'd get in a shit ton of trouble. It probably wouldn't be too good.
Yeah.
But one time when we played chicken, we turned it, and what would always happen is the boat would tip over because of all the momentum. So the boat would tip over, and then we'd have to get on the other side with our weight and pull it up. But one time, the whole thing went completely upside down. We turtled it. It was completely upside down in the water.
Really?
And it took us a while to get it back up, yeah. But it was just a lot of fun. You learn cool stuff like, okay, you can use a pair of jeans as a life preserver. Did you know that?
No.
If you're like, I'm in the water, you take off your jeans, you tie the ends where your ankles are, you tie them together, right?
Yeah.
And you put it over your head. And then the waist part, you grip it with both hands and you just blow air into it, and then you hold it, where the waistline is and the fly with both hands after blowing air into it so the air doesn't get out, and it keeps air in there with the ankles tied around your neck.
Can keep air?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta try that then.
I mean, they get wet. And
well, yeah, no, of course they get wet, but that's shocking to me.
Yeah,
that's
really,
wow,
cool, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's a very cool. I feel like I definitely have to try this now.
Yeah,
because that's kind of mind blowing, actually. Yeah, because when I was younger, I did people to people student ambassadors, which was my only like Boy Scout type experience, and it was the year before that. I think I ended up going to Yosemite for some summer camp there, and yeah, I mean it was a trip. Waking up in the morning and being like, wow, I'm in nature right now. It's kind of surreal. But what I wanted to say was that I feel like, and you reminded me of this. I was debating on whether or not to bring this up last episode, but you made a perfect segue this time when you said that you had so much fun on all of these trips. I'm thinking to myself, wow, like most of these childhood trip experiences to me, I remember were just miserable. And I'm like, well, okay, so here's my theory, is that a lot of people don't know whether or not that they were popular when they were younger. And I feel like the simple test as to whether or not you're popular is the question, did you have fun as a child? And if the answer is yes, then you were popular. If the answer was if you were miserable as a child, then no, you weren't popular. And that is my thesis. What do you think?
I mean...
What do you think about that theory? Because you had a blast as a child, and you I would count you as a socially popular figure back in high school.
I would agree with that in the latter years of high school, because I was real quiet, and then like junior, senior year, I kind of came out more. You know what I'm saying? But I think but in like middle school, no. But in middle school is when I was in Boy Scouts, and it's just like you kind of. I mean, the whole idea of am I popular or not It's
That
just there's
is based
if
off
you're
of-
thinking to yourself like if you're wondering am I popular? Am I popular? I am popular. I'm not popular. You're like super insecure because if you're just letting go and just having fun,
Yes.
the idea of quote unquote popularity or do you think people think I'm cool doesn't register with your brain because it's not even on the radar.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who you're with or what you're doing, but if you're just having fun and you have this camaraderie, it's just like a great time. Those things are, in the background. Doesn't really
That's so interesting that you mentioned
matter
that
at
because
all.
I see that in both you and Cooper, and that suddenly makes so much sense because
Cooper,
that attitude of just-
he and I, we went on some of the Young Life trips.
Oh,
or not Young
yeah,
Life,
that's
Young Life.
right,
I did Young
the-
Life, but youth group at
the
First Press.
First Press, yeah.
I also did Young Life, but youth group at First Press. We went to this Timberley or whatever it's called, and I just remember Cooper one time. I think this is like in 7th grade or 6th grade or something. We were there for a weekend in the winter, and Jamie, the youth leader, is like, "No, Cooper, I don't think your mom would allow you to be eating whipped cream for breakfast." He had a cafeteria tray, and you know how the cafeteria trays. This for some reason, I think this cafeteria tray had like different little pockets
Compartments,
or
yeah.
slots. I think it was just like you put the food straight on the tray or something weird like that.
Okay.
But he had whipped cream all over the thing. And he was holding it and like was eating it with his face. And without any utensils and just holding it in like
Yeah, that sounds.
and
right.
I just remember seeing him and like Jamie walking over and like taking it away from him. He's like, "No, you need to eat real food." But we did at Timberley in 8th grade. I totally remember 8th grade. We did a toboggan down the hill, like a toboggan. Who does that anymore? Nobody.
Nobody.
Right? That's what our parents did,
Yes.
in the 60s or
Yeah.
something. But we did a toboggan with like me and like 3 other people down a hill, and then whoa, you're at the end of the hill, and then you're done. Oh, and you're on top of a frozen lake. It's like, oh man, that's cool. Let's go back and do it again.
I know. Well, it was fun. Not to be too tangential, but it reminded me of something that Jimmy Kimmel had some like YouTube girl glitter people on, and he made some sort of comment like about their videos. And he's like, "Don't you guys ever go outside?" And their sincere response was, "No." Like,
No.
why would you ask that question? Why would we ever play outside? The idea of playing outside is just totally foreign now.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as playing outside, really.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, but dude, it's that simple stuff. When the snow comes and stuff ices over, sledding down hills. I mean, making snow forts, snow
yeah.
wars, snowball wars.
Yep.
Oh, nothing beats a good snowball war.
Building a ramp to jump your bike off of it.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's simple, the broken bones that follow.
Yeah.
Simple climbing a tree that you shouldn't be climbing.
My brother we would build ramps like every summer with the Dignan brothers, and my brother once went off a ramp that we built, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's when you have the handlebars and you flip them inside out and then back.
Okay.
So you spin it, so it's 180 degrees, and then you spin it back. And he
Yes.
like did that, and then as he was coming back, he hit the ground, like completely flipped over his bike, and like just started crying and like holding his arm or something. I mean, he was maybe 8 or 9 years old. I don't know.
Yeah.
But just like that's what you do when you're a kid. You do stuff that's fun, that you don't know any better, and you get hurt, and you scrape your knees, and you break your bones, and you smash your face on the ground, and you just learn to deal with it, so that next time you remember, that hurt, that brought me pain, so I'm not going to do that again.
Exactly.
The one thing that really upsets me is I go around town, and I see all these different playgrounds that are designed to be safe.
Yeah.
Like, okay, one, this playground sucks. Who's the architect that built this? Because this thing blows. Like, they're all the same, too. The green tubes, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
With, like, the tan plastic slides. No, what you need to get is a slide that is, like, 8 to 10 feet tall.
And aluminum, so
And
that when the sun
yeah.
is out, it heats up to about 200 degrees.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
boil yourself alive on
So
the
that when you
slide.
go down that slide, you hate your life, but you love it at the same time for a few moments.
And the 20-foot pole that you can slide down
Yeah.
to or try and climb up if you're brave enough.
Yeah. Everything is...
The
it's-
wood chips.
Yep,
The
wood
the,
chip.
the 10-year-old wood chips.
We had at
will
Ben
kill you.
Franklin. There was just gravel, they're like pebbles.
Yeah.
And then they built a new playground. And the new playground was like, it was all right. It was cool. And then they made a parking lot where that is, and they built a new playground. But like, bring me some, because I remember playing at Newton Park. I have a memory of being there when I was a kid, and that playground had to have been around. I mean, so this would have been like 91, 92. That playground had to have been around since like the 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell that just the style of the playground when it's an old ass playground. Or the one at Main Street Rec Center used to be fucking bomb. And
yes,
then,
it did.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
that was
it did.
Amazing playground. And then they, of course, knocked that shit over. Everything's plastic and fat and stupid. And it's like, no, bring back the old school
steel bars.
Steel, narrow bars.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
No paint. No paint.
Nope.
Or paint it, but when the paint wears
It's
off,
just
leave it off.
Yep.
Don't do anything with
Yep.
it.
Yep.
No need to repaint it.
Nope.
You know?
It's meant to be used.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too, is that I felt like a lot of these playgrounds were pretty creative in their style.
Yes, that's
and they
it. They were
allowed
very
for the
creative.
opportunity of imagination to run wild.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, as you were saying, like what your brother was doing. I mean, my brother and I like battled with sticks all the times, and we would use those playgrounds as our war zones of trying to, we'd invent these games of just going crazy. And yeah, it may have been a little dangerous, but we survived. We're still here.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like most kids our age, no one was irreparably harmed from a playground that I know of.
No.
And those instances are just as likely, I feel like, to happen today as they were back then, because you can't cure stupid. Like, people are gonna hurt themselves no matter how much bubble wrap you put around your slides.
We when the old playground at Ben Franklin had, because they knocked down half of it, the other half was still around. So there was this like wooden bridge, and we would stand on it, and it would always be like Nate Burrows, since he was always like the biggest kid in our class, like every single year, and he would launch us, and we would try to get some air on the bridge, and I think once or twice people like got up and they fell over, and but I mean, it's only 4 or 5 feet, but it's whatever, you land on the wood chips. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, all the old playgrounds were extremely creative in their design and unique, and no one playground was the same. All these playgrounds right now, they're all the same. Just, like I said,
cookie cutter, safety.
Stupid fat green tubes, tan plastic slides, dumb shit that's not fun but tries to be, you know? It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I feel like those are the bumps and bruises that you have to have in life. I mean, really, you're not going to learn if you don't get injured while you're young, because stuff heals while you're still a child, you know? It's easy enough to repair you when you're a kid, but if you never experience that as an adult, and you try something like a Tough Mudder and end up breaking your leg on on a rope obstacle course.
Do you have any favorite injuries from being a child, or any that stick out to you?
Injuries from my childhood. Well, I mean, the only break I've ever had was I broke my ankle in college.
Okay.
In my fraternity. Brooks threw me through a wall.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun. But what was it? Oh yeah. My favorite childhood memory is when my brother dropped a brick on my head.
No, are you fucking kidding me?
Twice. Years in between. This wooden block. I'm sorry. I'm always corrected. One was a brick. The other was a wooden block.
Oh my gosh.
The first time, I love telling this story. This is like the Neil Prom story. This is one of my favorite stories to tell.
Oh yeah.
So we have this treehouse in the back of our yard that my dad ended up building, and
was it a bomb ass treehouse?
it was a bomb.
I would imagine having. I just remember it's like, oh wait, your parents are architects.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, it was, and it wasn't in the tree itself. It was a house, but it was a 2-story tree house.
Okay.
Plastic slide, swing, all the bells and whistles. And so my brother was playing on the second floor, and I was on the bottom floor. And I remember him saying, "Hey Rix, come out here. I have something to show you." And he swears that he says to this day, "Don't come out." But I don't know why he would say.
Don't come out. I don't have something
I don't
to show
have
you.
anything to show you. So But I'm a kid, so I don't know how accurate my memory is. I don't. There is no reason that I would have exited the treehouse had I not been summoned. And so as soon as I'm out, suddenly there's and I feel dizzy all of a sudden, and I could tell something like hit my head, but there's no pain that follows, which is weird. And I look down and I see there's a brick on the ground, and I'm just like, did that just hit me on my head? I'm just like, okay. And I put my hand up to my head, and I'm feeling it, and I'm like, there's no pain, like I'm not feeling anything. Which is, I bring it down, my hand is red. It is pure red.
Oh my gosh.
There was blood gushing down my head, slowly just oozing out of a wound. And my mom comes out of the house, she sees me, I look like Carrie, just covered in blood, and she's just starts freaking out, gets me to the hospital. Now, the craziest part about this whole story is that I did not have to get stitches. My hair happened to be long enough, and it was not that bad of a wound that they were able to take my hair and tie it and do hair ties in place of stitches, so the hair naturally just came out, and I never had to have stitches removed.
Okay.
So that was a benefit of having long hair when I was young. But then, like 3 or 4 years later, the exact same thing happens, where he didn't say to come out, but whatever happened, where I was standing below and he dropped it on my head again. For a second time, I had to get hair ties and fix my head.
Wow.
And then there was another time that he stuck a stick through my, to stab me in the head with a stick as well, and caused a little bleeding. So, yeah, no, my brother. But I mean, to be fair, I may have pushed him into a pole once or twice. So, we have our back and forth. Neither of us are innocent in this long narrative.
My brother and I once, we were playing football outside in the winter, and it was just I don't know how we did this. It was 2-on-2. I don't know what happened. I don't know how we were doing this. It was just the two of us playing with the Dignan brothers, and we were gonna. What happened was Ames ran through us, but he ducked down, and so my brother and I ended up smashing into each other, and my nose hit his head, and I think my teeth had cut him across the eyelid or eyebrow.
Oh, damn.
I think he might still have a scar there.
Yeah.
And just instantaneously, just blood is just running down my nose like a faucet.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Just
I can't imagine.
coming down, just draining out of my head. And I was 14, I think, when this happened.
Oh, my goodness.
And I'm freaking out. I don't know. When someone breaks their nose, do they have to get something done, or is it the broken nose just this nothing's? I don't understand the phrasing of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because I didn't go to the doctor or anything.
But they just twisted your nose back
into
place.
But you can see.
That's from the.
You can see I have a very small bump in my nose.
Yeah.
Where the bone meets the.
As you were telling the story, I started looking at your nose, and I'm like, "Is that from your thing?"
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think
because it does look like that could be, yes. Because I was like, something happened there.
Because
something's not natural.
When I went to school the next day or 2 days later, my teacher's like, "Oh my gosh, Victor, did you break your nose?" I'm like, "What? No. What are you talking about?"
You broke your nose, and it never got reset.
No, I didn't have to get it reset. It wasn't pushed off to the side or anything.
But the bump that exists right now, I think, is because it wasn't properly repaired. Because that's where the bridge of your nose is.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. It's
very
that's
weird to think about. Well, I mean, look at obviously my pinky has been fractured multiple times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this is a pretty good run.
Holy cow. Oh.
What did you learn from your race that you'd like to sign off with? Because I don't ever.
What did I learn? Oh, man.
Fear is the obstacle. Conquer it. That's what your shirt says.
What is that? What it says?
Yeah.
Fear is the obstacle. Oh, okay. Fear. Hold on. Fear is the obstacle. Conquer it with a monkey. I'm sorry, I don't have anything.
No, it's perfect.
Right.
With a monkey, and then it'll go to the. Oh, I don't have the monkey sound in the outro.